Good Monday evening, everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Safety Stop. JoJo, what is going on tonight?
Oh, trying to catch up. Working on Women's Dive Day stuff. So
You've been
over
talking to my
here.
wife again.
I have been over the weekend, which was an
Okay.
absolutely gorgeous weekend we just had.
Oh, yeah. So, the first thing we've got to talk about is the fundraiser for Women's Dive Day. Um, because y'all had way too much fun with that this weekend. And I know y'all was running brine all over the quarry, but
Yes, we were.
uh, so it looks like Todd Ransford's in here. Good evening, Mr. Todd. Him and Miss Jill. I don't know if she's watching or not, but good evening to y'all just the same. Krista says I delegated. So, of course, Women's Dive Day is coming up July 19th. We'll probably do a special episode about that closer to Women's Dive Day. But, this year's theme is pirates. And
Yes.
we have already secured a pirate ship, and she has been working on that. But the fundraiser. Now, I'm going to let JoJo explain this because he designed the launcher. I'm just going to say that he designed
Yeah.
the launcher. So JoJo.
So this year's a little different. Instead of racing, we're literally going to chuck these ducks into the quarry.
The
I
Chuck a
have
Duck.
I have combobulated together a duck launcher.
Populated. Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, it's pretty much a water balloon launcher, and started thinking, shoot, I think we got about 150 foot range on it. We're gonna have some fun with this.
Well, I wished I had the video because Brian was, when y'all were launching them, he was taking like slow mo video when they come out of the launcher, and you just see this little duck flying right over the water.
Yeah,
And
I mean, perfect art. And then when they hit, they get a little bit of a splash, and they pop up like nothing even
yeah. So that's this year's fundraiser. We'll have more information on that the closer we get to Women's Dive Day. But of course, I think the registration is set to open up June 1st, if I'm not mistaken. So that's usually about the same time we normally get the registrations open. So make sure you mark your calendar. Women's Dive Day, July 19th. Going to be a lot of fun, pirate themed. Got a lot more stuff going on this year with the pirate theme. I think there's going to be like a best dressed pirate and just all kinds of fun stuff. Chuck a Duck, so that's going to be a fun one.
know.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a cannon, but I had to take the safety into consideration.
Oh yeah, yeah. The water balloon launcher is a little bit safer, and of course, the targeting is it's going to be funny because we're going to have a couple of staff members out there with DPVs, and they're going to be chasing these ducks. So you aim for the target, which is going to be out in the water. You'll be able to see it on the surface, and so yeah, and it's like got a bullseye, and it's I don't know what's the widest that the target is. It's what, like 10 feet, 12 feet?
Oh, it's wider than 10 feet.
Is
We're
it?
probably more towards the 15, 20 foot range. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's the biggest one, and then there's like four stages, and they get smaller. The smallest one's only like a foot and a half.
Oh yeah.
So we got real estate to hit, but at the same time, uh, there's more real estate to hit lower numbers than there is bigger numbers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's part of the contest. Krista's putting on here, the more money we raise, the more money someone can win. And of course, this year's charity that the 50-50 pot's going to is an organization in Christian County there in Hopkinsville that is a support for foster parents and foster kids. Like if the kids need stuff, it's called Joy Closet, and it's a nonprofit, and they make sure like foster parents have stuff for the foster kids. If any foster kids need anything, they help supply it and stuff. So it's really going for a good cause. And like Krista said, the more money we raise for it, it's a 50-50 pot. So the more money it's raised, the more someone can walk away with that 50-50 pot. So I think last year we split it between two organizations and the winner. So it's like a third pot. And the winner walked away with $500. So, I mean, you know,
Yeah, kind of different this year. So we're not selling the ducks per se. I mean, you know, $5 to get a duck, but we're gonna pay, per launch pretty much.
yeah. Well, I
So
think,
the more
um,
you get in there, the higher your score and bigger your chance of walking away.
yeah, well, I'm not sure. I think we are going to sell ducks. Like if somebody's not going to be there, but they want to buy a duck and contribute, they take it home with
Oh,
them.
okay. Well, that makes sense too.
And then the day of is going to be the chuck a duck, where it's like, I'm not really sure. She can correct me if I'm wrong, but like $5 a duck, your chance to shoot or something. I'm not really sure how that part's working just yet, but yeah, you like you'll put money in and you'll get like a duck, three ducks, whatnot, and be able to see how close to the bullseye you can get. So it's going to be a lot of
Fun.
fun. I mean,
You should show a video because those darn things are fun to chuck.
if I had it, I would, but I don't have it. It wasn't sent to me, so. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool seeing them. But anyway, but yeah, we'll probably come up with a special episode a couple of weeks beforehand, kind of, going over all the details for Women's Dive Day. And it is by far the largest event here at the park. It's a lot of fun. And again, I think we're going to have some equipment manufacturers on site. I think the Patty rep's going to be there. Not sure about our SSI rep if he's going to be there or not. But a lot of interaction, a lot of fun. Of course, the treasure hunt is back for Women's Dive Day, so I think there's going to be. We were talking about this last night. Now, here's something interesting that I don't know if she's going to implement it, but she really liked the idea. Is a pirate themed movie scavenger hunt. So like some of the decorations will be incorporated like with different pirate movies over the years. And I'm not exactly sure, but you have to be able to spot all of these, pirate movies and be able to tell what movie it is. And so that's going to be a lot of fun if she incorporates it because I mean, hey, why not? If you're on your surface interval, it gives you something to do between the treasure hunt and the prizes, whatnot.
Oh, I mean, that's kind of a cool idea. Now you need to go talk to Louisville Dive and have them bring the projector down. We all can watch Pirates of the Caribbean
We'll make sure we're playing some pirate themed music over the PA that day. Krista says buy a duck to keep $20. 3 shots for 15 prior to the day, $5 each additional shot. So, and of course, again, this is a fundraiser. So, make sure you keep that in mind because, this year we're helping to support foster parents and foster kids with Joy's Closet. So,
We get to have fun doing it. It is. It's gonna be a lot. It's really gonna be fun watching everybody shoot ducks across
oh
the
yeah,
board.
you know, it's, I'm telling you, you can't have any more fun on a surface interval than launching a rubber duck across the quarry and trying to hit a target.
And that's cool too. Is last time you kind of had to wait for the races and everybody was kind of together. This you will be able to do on your surface interval. I want to open the window up, say like 10 to 3. So you get all your shots in, and then after 3, we'll figure out who the winner is.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
plenty of time. Not having to stand in long lines and stuff like that. Should help.
Yeah. I mean, we've got, like I said, we're going to have judges out there, we're near the target to retrieve the ducks to let us know where the ducks landed. And so that's going to be reported back. And So yeah, I mean it's gonna be a fun time. But yeah, go do a dive, come up, chuck a duck, eat something, go back, do another dive, participate in the treasure hunt. All kinds of good stuff.
You know, Cowboy's going to be there with his good cooking,
Oh yeah, most definitely.
which I think he's planning on being down there this weekend, next weekend.
Yes, so that's another one, another announcement, and I kind of got off a little bit on the women's dive day and the chuck a duck, but Cowboy will be there starting this weekend. It'll be a limited menu this weekend, full menu for Memorial Day, and it's really hard, JoJo, but it's almost Memorial Day. It's
It
almost
is
summer
coming
season.
up fast.
Yeah.
So, so we're coming. What's service temp looking like?
Uh, it's warming up. So surface temperature's right about 70, maybe a little bit over 71 ish. 10 feet's about 69. So not really a thermocline between the surface and 10 feet. But I think the thermocline's setting right at like 13 to 14 feet. That's where it gets a little chilly. I think it drops down to about 55, 56 below that. So little bit of a drop. So
A little
definitely
bit.
definitely still want those 7 mils if you're going to be diving, in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Definitely break out the 7 mil because it does get chilly quick.
I think all that rain sucked the heat out of the quarry.
Probably. So, also in other news, I believe we had a conference call on Thursday last week, and I believe we are actually going to have a representative from the Avilo system on the show with us next Monday night. So I spoke with them, and they said that they weren't able to do tonight. So that was just too close notice. But since we are able to remote them in, said next Monday, and I told them, I said, well, good, that's going to be our last episode for the spring season, and then we won't be back until the fall. But so there are talks going on right now. Hopefully, I know here in 2 weeks, Louisville Dive Center is going to be in, and they're going to be doing an Avilo class. So if you're interested, next Monday night, tune in, learn more. We're going to have an opportunity to ask pretty much any questions that we have about the Avilo system, Dive Avilo. We'll be able to ask and have answered next Monday night. So, I mean, it looks cool. The buoyancy concept is, that's something that, you know, hey, it's, yeah, I'm interested in it.
Yeah, I mean something that's going to make buoyancy a heck of a lot easier. I mean, it's one of the biggest things we have to work on as divers is buoyancy. And apparently, it makes it a heck of a lot easier.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I believe his name's Ben from Dive Avilo. He's going to be with us next Monday night right here on the show, kind of giving us a little bit of information, and plus it gives you guys, our viewers, a chance to interact and ask your questions if you have specific questions about that system, whatnot, or if you have interest in it. Like I said, I know Louisville Dive Center is doing one down at the park Memorial Day weekend. I don't know details about it, but I do know they are doing one, and the talk is later on in the summer we'll be hosting one at the quarry. So yeah, I mean, if you're interested in the Velo system, I know everybody has seen it, or a lot of people have seen it. It's the one that's supposed to, the with the buoyancy control, it like supposed to be automatic, and like you can't just inflate and go up. It actually, you have to swim, and it adjusts your buoyancy automatically. So I'm really interested to see how this thing works.
Oh yeah. Oh, get rid of a BCD because it's all built into the system.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know anything else about it, just from what, talking with them on the phone, and You know, you don't even have, to go through the class to be able to be certified to dive on the system. You don't have to buy a system. You can get certified on it, and any place that has them, you can dive on them. So that's a pretty cool thing about it. Once it gets more popular, I'm sure that they'll come down in price. But I know Bonaire has a couple of places that where you can, if you're certified in it, or you can get certified while you're there, and you can dive them in Bonaire. So
Yeah. Hey, I'm looking forward to it. Say we've been talking about this kind of off and on for a couple years now.
yeah,
So,
well, I mean, it's an interesting topic because you know, uh, unlike with open circuit with just traditional scuba, buoyancy is the really the hardest thing to master, especially a new diver. And that's what I tell open water students: don't expect to have your buoyancy mastered until you hit at least 100 dives. You got to get comfortable. You've got to have that experience behind you to know how to control your buoyancy. And you know, on the other hand, like rebreather divers, it's a whole new way to dive because you don't have your BC's not controlling your buoyancy. You don't, I ain't gonna say it doesn't control it, but there's a whole lot more factors in the technical aspect of it. And then you have the Avelo system over here that is gaining momentum of basically neutral buoyancy diving.
yeah. Um, I'm kind of curious. They say drop a bunch of weight, but we have to revert back to a weight belt for us that still need it.
Well, and again, I don't know if you've started or not. I've started making a list of like some of the questions that
I
that
need
I
to.
want to ask. Because I don't know how the weighting system works with that system. One of the things that was brought up to me was when they come down for it is airfields, and I'm like, well, we have traditional yoke, den, regular air, bank 32. I mean, what's special that's needed to fill these? Is there any? So that's just some of the questions that I had, and like I said, we get him on here next Monday, and we can pretty much get all the information that if you can think of the question, ask it. Feel free to, because that's what this is all about. This is about learning. Is this something you may be interested in? Is it something you may not be interested in? I'm curious to know how it works, and you know, it's a new concept, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
And I haven't been paying attention to the comments, so I apologize.
Kristen said she's got 5K in prizes waiting ready
Okay,
for him that
all
day.
right, good
So
deal.
he's definitely got boxes and boxes ready to
Every time a
go.
box, yeah, I was gonna say every time a box comes in, I'm like, ooh, we got goodies. No, it's Women's Dive Day. Ooh, goodies. We got no, it's Women's Dive Day. So I was expecting some stuff in a couple of weeks ago. No joke. And the box come in, and it was some of the new pro shirts for that Brian wanted. And so this box arrives, and I'm like, this is it's not a huge box, but it's not a small box. And I'm like, it's an awfully big box for a couple of shirts and a couple other things. And I'm like, I told Brian before I even opened it, I said, hey, I think your shirt's come in. Well, the next day I opened it, and it wasn't. It was Women's Dive Day stuff. I'm like, oh, man. So, yeah, oh, yeah, it's always a fun time.
He got
Never know.
Brian all excited too.
Yeah, you never know when a box shows up, you never know what you're going to get. It may be, cool new scuba toys. It may be Women's Dive Day stuff this time of year. After Women's Dive Day, I'll know, when a box shows up, oh, okay, this is mine. Oh, goodness. Well, we've been kind of jumping all over the board tonight, and me and Joe were talking about the topic tonight of why it's so important to have a dive buddy. And, there's a lot of reasons behind it, and we're getting a little late jump start because of all the other news going on and all that. But, you know, of course, I know a lot of people that when they think about diving, that's one of the first things you think about is, oh well, I don't have a buddy. You have to have a buddy to dive. Well, that's true. There are ways like continuing education classes. SDI offers a solo class, which teaches a lot of redundancy. So if you don't have a buddy in the event of you learn, you got an extra air system, you're pretty much packing double of everything. But what is a buddy good for, JoJo?
Oh, but it's good for a lot of things. Of course, we talked about the safety net all the time. Having two of everything. If something goes wrong, you can rely on your buddy to help get you out of a situation. But it's also good to have a helping hand when you need it as well.
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but there's just some days that I struggle with just getting my fins on.
Well, we all have days on the struggle bus. I mean, and I've always said, and this is just me, is if I have three things that go wrong when I'm setting up, that's a sign to me that I just don't need to dive that day. And now if it's just one thing or two things, okay, well maybe. But if that third thing happens, okay, you know what? It's not meant for me to get in the water. So, but again, a dive buddy comes in real handy for a lot of things. And the best dive buddy is when you get a family certified.
Oh
And
yeah,
when
built-in
you
side buddy.
because you've always got a built-in dive buddy. I mean, you've got somebody if you want to go, dive someplace, but I don't have a buddy. Family members, whatnot, make great dive buddies because you know they're built in.
Brings up another good point too. If you're not certified and have somebody else you want to be your dive buddy, or bring them along, you might get a discount on that class that you want
Oh yeah, I mean, most places. I don't know about most places, but the more people you bring in to go with you, are more dive buddies that you're going to be able to call up and say, hey, you know, let's go diving. So it's a lot of people come in, ones or they may have like a husband, wife, or parent and child, whatnot, go through the class together, which is awesome. But when you get, no joke, Saturday I had a family of four come in and sign up to take class. So I mean that's four people that's able, once they get done with their class, they're able to go and enjoy. And I was really, I was really, let's see how to say this, envious because the one older couple, I'm assuming it was probably like mom and dad and son and daughter-in-law or something like that. I'm not really sure, but the older couple are headed to the Great Barrier Reef in October.
to take.
They're
I'm
going
a
to
little
Australia and they
envious
want to
of
get.
that too.
Oh yeah, and they want to get certified. So I mean, that makes it perfect opportunity. They've already got the vacation planned, so it gives them something else to do than just go to Australia and take a boat ride or a land tour. Gives them something else to do, and it's the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh, and that's most on everybody's bucket
I even said, hey, I'll trade you. I'll let you go to Roatan, and I'll go to Australia for you. Yeah, that didn't work.
list. Yeah. Uh, being starting out being the only one certified diver in my family, my dive buddies were complete strangers on boats. So
Yeah.
I mean that's how I found dive buddies. I just got on a boat, whoever was there is my dive buddy.
Oh yeah. Well, and you also think of it on this aspect when you go on like vacation. If you're the only diver and you go get on a boat, then usually the dive professionals, the dive masters on the boat, everybody introduces themselves, and it's a whole lot easier getting a buddy on a boat. But that also brings in some unique challenges as well. If you get on a boat, you know your equipment. You don't know anybody else or what kind of equipment they have. So whoever you get buddied up with, it's always important to make sure you go over their equipment for safety. You know where their weight system is, where their octo is going to be located, and vice versa. I mean, you want your buddy to be familiar with your gear because, I mean, let's face it, there's so many different pieces of equipment on the market that everybody has a completely different configuration. And to be able to help your buddy out in an emergency, you got to know where stuff's at. And getting familiar with a new buddy, getting familiar with their equipment is, you know, uh, wow,
Yeah.
it's storming.
Where's their octo? Is it in their pocket? Is it cummerbund? Attached to their cummerbund? Is it around their neck on a lanyard?
Oh yeah,
Uh, you know, where are you going to go to if you do need air? Because we all know the out of sign air isn't going to be the first thing you do.
yeah,
It's going straight to the hose.
oh yeah, yeah, most definitely. And pretty much they're going to be going for your primary hose.
Yeah. So,
So
I mean, you know, they grab that and you stick yellow in your mouth and they kind of take a few breaths and calm down and you're like, you okay?
oh yeah. Well, and there's also those situations where, like at the park, for example, somebody calls up or messages, emails, hey, I'm coming in, I need a dive buddy. We know most of the regular divers that come in. And majority of the regular divers, don't mind to have a dive buddy tag along. So it's not like, you don't have to put off going diving because you don't have a dive buddy. There's always a way to get you hooked up with somebody who is knowledgeable and competent and, not just somebody who's brand new that really don't have the experience, maybe fresh out of open water class. We're all eager to dive at that point because, hey, we've got a taste. We're wanting more.
Yeah.
And it's
Pretty
based on
easy to
experience.
find a dive buddy at our flight between Labor Day and Memorial Day. So,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. But then raise your question: should you be diving with that person? uh, so like, if you have a particular dive profile you're diving with, you might not want to bring somebody on that
Oh,
can't go to a certain depth with you. So asking questions is a
can,
good thing.
can you hear this? Yeah, you can't now. Yeah. It is raining like crazy here. I mean, it is just like it's breaking the noise break on my mic because I have it set to where it doesn't pick up background noise as easy. And yeah, and the rain it's not doing it now, but it was. I mean, it was just like hammering down. I could hear it while you was talking.
Uh, but yeah, make sure you're having that open dialogue on what kind of buddy you are and what you're expecting from the dive. Uh, go with me. We're on a wreck. Stop darn sure that I'm going to find a hole in the wreck somewhere. You might not want to come along.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, trust me. I've been on wreck dives with JoJo enough. We've done the Helma Hooker together. We've been on, a couple in Florida together. Roatan. If there's a hole he thinks he can fit in, he's going. It's like, don't follow JoJo.
And the key word there, thinks he can fit in.
But Randy brings up another point he posted here. Another point about having multiple dive buddies is when your original buddy flakes on you after a couple of years and just quits diving. So, and that's what the dive community is there for. I have to say, we are so blessed to have such an awesome diving community at the park that we have our regulars that come in that we know that, again, They don't mind somebody jumping in with them. It's such a great community, and if that was to happen, you're still part of a larger community to where you can still dive.
Yeah, and luckily our community keeps growing. If you haven't noticed how many pavilions we're having to build in.
Well, nothing like having a lot of dive buddies. I mean,
Good problem to have.
yeah, oh yeah. It just goes to show how much people in the local areas love to dive. And again, I mean, I've had people come in or even call, and hey, my dive buddy quit diving several years ago, so I quit diving, and I think I'm wanting to get back into it, but I don't know what I need to do. Well, don't worry about the dive buddy part. We'll get that figured out. First off, how long has it been since you've been diving? If it's been over a year, let's get you in for a refresher course. Make sure your skills are up to snuff, everything's good. And then once you do that, we'll connect you with, dive buddies. I always talk about this group here, not basically here on the show, but, at the park. We've got the geezers, and there's usually a couple of them in here, watching here on Monday nights. I haven't seen Frank chime in. I haven't seen Steve chime in tonight.
Yeah, I
But
think they're normally down on what Mondays, aren't they?
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, in the summertime, we have Mondays are the geezers days. I mean, every Monday you can bank. There's 3 or 4 of them there that are diving. That's their day to dive, and so it's not like it's a huge problem to find a dive buddy. Weekdays it is a little bit harder, just because there's not as many people diving on the weekdays. But weekends, and then of course, our geezers, they're, and I use that term because they call themselves the geezers. They're out every Monday, and they always say, hey, if somebody needs a dive buddy, any other day than Monday, let me know. If I'm free, I don't care to come and dive with them. So, that's what really makes the diving community so great that we have, is because you've got folks who are able to dive during the week, and they're willing to come in. If you don't have a dive buddy and you're coming through during the week, as long as we know, we can let them know and find a dive buddy. Uh, James Todd said, I'm glad you brought up this tonight. As soon as the water warms up, I'm probably going to need a dive buddy. I did see that a couple places the water temperature is 0. I'm hoping it warms up. So the water temperature is not 0. I promise you. Um, we've got a
Maybe
couple
that's
of
Celsius, 32
yeah
degrees.
we've got a
Feels like it's
couple of
30.
temperature sensors that are out that we're waiting for the parts to come in to replace those sensors. But I promise you, it is not 0. We would have ice chunks down there.
Uh, Another good thing is, and I experienced this when I put together the police trip. Everybody was like, well, "Who's my dive buddy going to be? I'm the only person going. Who's my roommate?" You know, I was like, "If you want to go, sign up." That all can be hashed out as more people sign up and we get this thing going. But you'll find that I took 6 of us in this group. Every
So,
one of them are pretty much now have 20 new dive buddies.
oh yeah,
Not just the people that we went with, but literally we have people from England, France, and there was a lot from California.
and
All now we're following each other on Facebook, wondering
oh
when
yeah,
they can get back together again.
oh yeah,
So,
and dive trips like that are a good way to meet new buddies, especially divers who like to travel. Maybe you're able to travel, but you don't have a dive buddy that travels. Excuse me. And so when you go on a dive trip, of course, if you go with a group, you've got several dive buddies, but you're going to meet people from different areas. When we go to Roatan, we usually have, at least one other group that's there from somewhere in the U.S. There's been a couple of times I've run into people that I know were leading groups at the same time, same
I would
place. And
actually
I'm like,
ran
hey,
into
I know
Perfect.
you. The diving
Yeah.
industry is such a small industry. that, when you run into people, especially like at the park or whatnot, you may run into them again in Florida, or you may run into them, Cozumel or Belize on a liveaboard, but you meet so many more new people. Uh, I was talking to one of the divers the other day that went on the Belize trip, and he was telling me that there's like, a couple from California that they met on the boat, and then, two or three that was on the group with us. And I think there was one or two more that he named off that was, on the group or on the liveaboard, that they're all going to start traveling together.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean, I'm getting random emails from people, and it took me a minute to figure out. Well, there are other people that were on the liveaboard with me,
yeah.
asking for the photos that I took while we're on. It's like, oh, okay, now I got your email address.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so dive buddies, if you don't have one, it's not super hard to get hooked up with a group, especially with a community like we have. You know, so don't let not having a dive buddy deter you from diving. If you love to dive, you're going to be able to get a buddy. And it may turn out like the Belize trip or like some of these other trips I've been on. People you meet, they may have the same destination interests that you do, whatnot. And, hey, well, let's jump up and take a weekend trip to Florida and let's go dive. All right, let's go. So you can actually meet a lot of people on trips like that. And it's really a great way to experience diving. Um, Even if you don't have a dive buddy, you can always get linked up with one. And, of course, like I said a while ago, and JoJo kind of stressed it, why do we need a dive buddy? Well, it's always fun to share those adventures with somebody else. You know,
Where I was going to go with who is next
yeah,
is well, because it's fun.
it
I'm,
is. I mean,
it's kind of boring being by yourself. And it's like, what?
well, and you look at it this way, especially like in a group trip or something, where you've got a dive master who's knowledgeable with the dive sites, that knows where basically everything is hanging out. If you're exploring like Bonaire, where you do shore dives and you don't have a guide, you know, if you've got 4 or 5 people going on a dive, then that gives you 4 or 5 sets of eyes to see different things. And of course, like on a group trip, when we're on a boat and the dive master specifically says, I know JoJo's heard it. Hey, if you guys see something, let us know so we can let the rest of the group know. And when you've got several dive buddies, like on a trip, you may miss the little frogfish, or you may miss a uh, spotted eel, or you may there's things you may miss.
Oh yeah.
And Frank just popped in here. He's one of the geezers I was talking about. Always more fun to dive with somebody. It is. I mean, not just the safety aspect of it. Um, you get, you build that fellowship with other divers, because all divers get other divers. We've all got a lot of money tied up in scuba gear. We've got, time in the water. Some of us have more dives, some of us have less dives. But all in all, we all dive and we all love to. And, always having that somebody watching your back, making sure, if you get in trouble, you're going to be okay. And not only that, but to share that experience with.
Yeah. Uh, Logbooks and pictures only go so far, but I tell you what, the dinner room conversations are always
Yeah, especially when something funny happens to somebody, maybe in an embarrassing moment or, whatnot. The tales at the dinner table after a day of diving are just awesome.
yeah. I mean, we spend 2 3 hours underwater each day, and the rest you're spending with everybody else talking about it.
Oh yeah.
A lot of fun.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But, so we've talked about the fun and the fellowship and why we need a dive buddy on that aspect. And we've touched on the safety aspects of it. You've got somebody there in case you run out of air. You've got somebody there in case, something happens. And, for example, deep dives. Nitrogen narcosis is a big one.
Oh yeah.
Basically anything over 60 feet you are susceptible to. And, it may not happen to you. It may happen to you. That's something nobody can determine. But at least a dive buddy will know, hey, he's not acting right or she's not acting right. Hey, let's go up a little bit. So you've got
That's what
somebody.
happened.
There it goes. Do you hear that thunder?
I heard it. Yeah. I've had a diver get narked on me and absolutely lose, all sense of time on me, and it's like it's
Oh,
time to
yeah.
go up.
And I've heard horror stories, and I don't mean that bad, but, of divers actually looking over to check at their buddy, and their regulator's out of their mouth. And it's like, they're just swimming along, just like nothing's going on. They reach down, grab the regulator, slam it back in their mouth. Let's go up. Let's go up a little bit. Just because they have, it's nitrogen narcosis. They get narked. You can do a lot of funny stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's keeping an eye out. And
Oh, yeah.
it's a simple thing to do.
That it is. Frank says the Geezer Club is a fun group. Yeah, we usually have two or three of them on here on Monday nights. So,
Yeah. Let's see. What else can we talk about for dive buddies?
well, not only as a safety aspect of it, but, what happens if, you're diving with somebody who has a camera, you don't, you know, it's a good way to get those pictures. Hey, like you were
Yeah.
saying.
If you have the patience to be with somebody who's got a camera, you can get some good shots.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most definitely. That's one thing I tell people when I'm on a trip or something like, "Hey, I'm taking photos. If you see something, let me know so that I can, get over and take a shot." And which when I go on a trip, I usually take the pictures and then I'll put it up in a photo album and send the link to everybody on the trip so that everybody has access to them. And it's not just, me personally, I do this for all of my trips that I'm on. And because there are people who travel that don't take photos, that, they don't want to have to worry about, that they're on vacation. They don't want to have to worry about, packing all this extra stuff. They're just wanting to enjoy the ocean. And so if you've got a buddy that does that, you can get some pretty cool pictures.
And the shenanigans are a lot funner too.
Oh, they are. I mean, anybody who and I'm going to pick on them because they're the Geezer Club, but anybody who knows the Geezer Club or has dove with the Geezer guys, it's a hoot because most of them are retired. And so, they love to dive. And it's just like, it's fun, but to converse and interact with them, it's just, it's a fun group.
Yeah, I mean, I'll pick on Mike a little bit. We're doing a dive starting out to about 80 feet and coming up the ramp, kind of shallower. And we're all on scooters. So
I
Mike
know where
was
this is
having
going.
some issues equalizing. So he kind of stayed up while the rest of us went down and he was
Mhm.
going to stay above us. Well, as we're coming up, I guess something worked all right. This is like his first time with his brand new scooter. He just dive bombs us and ran straight into the ground. All you see is a poof of dirt coming up and a nice scratch on the side of his brand new scooter.
Oh,
So
yeah. The
everybody's
dive
sitting there
bomber.
laughing at him.
Oh, yeah. The dive bomb. Well, y'all made sure that he was okay first, and then
Oh
everybody
yeah.
laughed at him.
I mean, yeah, he just looks around and just takes off again. So it's like, no,
He was looking around to see if anybody seen him, was what it
yeah.
was.
We're gonna. I guess that could be a good nickname for him, the dive bomber.
Yeah, dive bomber. I thought he got a sticker or something put on his scooter for that.
He might
I
have.
can't remember, but I always made the joke that he should get a sticker that says dive bomber and put it on his scooter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not gonna have moments like that unless you're diving with somebody. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. Again, the safety aspects number one has having a dive buddy to watch over you that can help you in the event something arises. That's number one. But number two is somebody that is like minded that shares those experiences. I can't even talk. To share those experiences with, and the war stories that you'll have for years and years. I can sit here and tell a ton of them, and it's but it's just built over time, and all the dive buddies that I've had, and it's really interesting, especially in the. I'm going to tell one on myself real quick because you know I was a new diver, and I think it was I was probably 14 if I'm guessing, and we were in Florida down in Clearwater, and it was my very first time. I may have been 13. It was my very first time in the ocean, very first ocean dive, and of course it was me and Dad, and so I was so excited about the ocean. I didn't look to see if I had a full tank on the boat. It's just like, oh, I get to go dive in the ocean. This is going to be so cool. Can't wait, kind of thing. And so, get geared up, jump in, drop down to about 45 feet. And I bet we weren't there any longer than about 10 minutes. And I noticed that my regulator is starting to get hard to breathe. And I'm like, what's going on? So I look at my pressure gauge, and at this point, it's setting like right at 500, maybe 400. And so, I go up to my dive buddy, Dad, and, I get his attention. I give him the low on air sign. And he just looks at me like, we've only been underwater 10 minutes. There's no way. And he turns around and goes on. And I'm like, I thought, beating my fist on my chest was low on air. I'm pretty sure I remember that from open water class. This is low on air. So here I go, I start swimming back up to him again. It's still getting a little harder to breathe. I look back and I'm, down like to 200. I get his attention again and I give him the low on air, and he's just like, what? What are you doing? Turns around and keeps swimming. And just about that time, he had gotten maybe about 10 feet from me. I went, uh-oh, this ain't good. And of course, I'm swimming trying to catch up to him, and I get a hold of him, and I literally, I flip him around. I grab his octo, stuck it in my mouth, and started breathing because it was like, air, so great. So he grabs my gauge and looks, and it's sitting on 0. So that's one of my first stories that back years ago, where if there hadn't been a dive buddy there, it would have been an emergency ascent to the surface. I mean, honestly, but also we had only been underwater like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I think, when I finally ran out of air. But again, number one mistake, I did not look at my pressure gauge. I was 13. I didn't look at my pressure gauge because I was so excited about, it's my first ocean dive. I didn't know what to expect. I was excited. So that was the big question, was the tank full? Because we were literally only underwater like 10 minutes. Again, new diver. So, did I breathe it down that fast just because of the excitement? Was it not full to begin with? Those are questions that's like, So, very important, especially for the kids. Any kids watching, make sure you know what your pressure gauge is before you jump in. Now we have computers, so computers kind of take all that information.
you're not the only one that has skipped a step or two in their pre-check, pre-dive check.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, and again, you take a 13-year-old kid who it's their first ocean dive. They're gonna be excited. They're wanting to hit the ocean. They're wanting to see all the pretty fish and the colors, and hopefully we see a turtle or a shark or something. So you just get so excited that it's something that all right, my gear's together, I'm ready to go, let's go. And you don't think about it, or you don't turn your air on. I did turn my air on, just so you know.
Uh, I mean, you're not only supposed to do your pre-dive check, but your buddy's supposed to do your pre-dive check as
Yep.
well. So, yeah, this is a
So,
couple different steps.
oh yeah. So buddies are an integral part of scuba diving. I know I've heard stories over the years, from different people. Oh, I don't need a buddy. I'm good. I ain't dove with a buddy in 20 years. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. To dive here, you've got to have a buddy, or you got to have the certification that says you don't. And then if you have that certification, we have to see the redundancy. So redundant air, redundant mask, or all the requirements for solo.
Oh
Because
yeah,
if you don't have the resources and something happens, there ain't nobody there to save you. So having those redundancies is very important, and a dive buddy makes a great redundant.
all the redundancy. I mean, even redundancy on an extra pair of hands.
Yeah, oh yeah,
That's a big deal.
oh yeah,
Ever cut yourself out of fishing line?
yeah.
It's a
Now,
lot easier for your dive buddy to do it. You just sit there as they take care of it.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, it's so many more benefits to it, versus, and I know what happens. What happens, especially like in Florida, if you have gear and you have your own boat. How easy it is to throw your gear on the boat, go out and go do a dive. You know, not nothing that there's anything wrong with that per se. If you're certified, you have the training, the redundancy, and all of that. But I mean, we're taking a big risk whenever we jump in the water. But by having that dive buddy, it helps minimize that risk and makes it a lot more enjoyable, at least in my book.
A lot more enjoyable.
Oh
I
yeah.
like my dive.
At least I know I've got another source of air if mine quits. See, I mean, like I said, the benefits outweigh 10 times. Let's see here.
So, plenty of dive buddies to be had. They're on dive trips. They're at the quarry all the time. I mean, heck, normally if you just ask around in this group, probably I've seen them say, "Hey, I'm going to Florida. Anybody want to join?" And people raise their hand all the time. So,
I want to go. Let's go.
it's like I'm going down here on these dates. Who wants to go? And you're like, "Yes, let's do this." Not hard to find.
Well, and you talk about, when you say that, I mean, if you've got two or three dive buddies and your schedules align, it's a whole lot easier to take a, 3, 4 day trip down to Florida. You split the cost, and it's not near as expensive, if you do that. If you carpool, if you're diving like the springs, or, the charter, the diving part would be the most expensive. But if you split a hotel room or an Airbnb, whatnot, it makes it a whole lot more cost effective. If you ride together, you split those costs, and then the only thing you're really paying, full price for is the charter, or if you're doing like springs and airfields and stuff like that. I mean, it makes it more economically efficient, especially like I said, if you're going to Florida or someplace like that.
Oh, you can find some cheap diving. Most of them
Yeah.
in the state parks that you can go to diving at. I mean, it's per carload, and it's like $6. It's like, well, that's
Oh
cheap.
yeah. Yeah, I
So,
mean, it's not hard, and if you was to drive down there and try to find a dive buddy, now you're paying for everything yourself, and no guarantee you're going to have a dive buddy. Where I remember, what was it, 4 years ago when we went down to Florida, me, you, and Jordan, and I think we hit, yeah, Blue Grotto. We hit Manatee, Catfish Hotel, all that. There was three of us, and of course we all rode together. We split, the hotel accommodations, and everything, and it was it was a great time, and it didn't cost a lot.
Yeah. Most people will look at catfish and say ain't diving that, but you're missing out if you don't dive.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't let the duckweed discourage you for sure.
And really, all it is like clover, but it grows on water.
Yeah.
So
Lisa
you can jump over
says,
to manatee and clear off, clean off.
yeah. Lisa says, when your dive buddy is a kid, it's not cost friendly. She expects me to pay for everything. Jojo, you know how that is.
Yeah, I tell you what, having a built-in dive buddy means I get to go diving more. It's like we have family vacation. If she wasn't certified, I wouldn't be diving. She's certified. We're gonna take a couple dives down Rainbow River and hit a couple of
Oh, yeah. Jordan says we need to do that trip again. Amen to that. Oh,
them. See what's
goodness.
coming up. That's a good opportunity.
Oh, goodness. Well, JoJo, we've got about 3 minutes left. Just do a quick recap here. Don't forget, Women's Dive Day is July 19th. The theme this year is Pirates, and we'll probably do a special episode on that closer to the event. Um, what else am I recapping, Joe? I know I'm forgetting a couple things. Oh, next Monday night, if you're interested in the Dive Avilo, the Avilo system, um, you know, next Monday night we will have a representative from Dive Avilo on the show with us. So if you have questions, you're interested in it, whatnot, tune in. You'll be able to ask questions. We'll be sitting here reading your comments and stuff, and being the rep, will be able to answer your questions. So don't you don't want to miss that if you're interested in wanting to learn more about the Dive of Elo. With that being said, JoJo, do you have any final thoughts for us for tonight? Oh, hold on a second. Hold that thought. Randy just chimed in here. Said, my first ocean dive was in Roatan 2019. There were storms before we got there. Pretty big swells the first day of diving. I did a giant stride, hand on my mask, regulator, but a wave hit my arm, knocked the reg out of my mouth. Let's see. To top it off, I was, and it says see more. Hold on a second. I was too light and banged around on the surface for a bit before I could get back on board and reweighted. So yeah, I mean, conditions and everything. First time in the ocean, it can be either great or it can be a learning experience.
Yeah, there's been a lot of learning experience in the ocean.
You have to respect it. But
Oh yeah.
so final thoughts, JoJo. We got about a minute left.
Oh geez, I'm happy to be back. We're going on strong. We're literally 2 weeks away from Memorial Weekend, so water's coming up. Can't wait to see everybody. Get in, make sure your gear's serviced, and come in and say hi. Also, leading a lot of good trips, so get signed up and come with me because I need all the new dive buddies too.
Well, and the water's not coming up; it's going down. But the temperature's
Oh,
coming
okay. The
up.
water's going down. The temp's going up. Okay?
Water's going down, temperature's going up. So, but anywho, but yeah, don't forget that next Monday night will be our final episode for the winter season or winter spring season. We're going to take our summer break over June, July, and August. Be back the Monday after Labor Day. And don't forget, we will not be on the divers group when we come back for the fall. We will be over on our YouTube channel. And I think I said last week I was going to get it programmed in so you guys could hop over there and hit the subscribe button. All of our videos from the last 4 or 5 weeks, we've been simulcasting over to YouTube, so they're recorded on there. Facebook has started deleting videos after 30 days, and we want to be able to sure that we can keep this archive going, and people can look back at past episodes, different topics and stuff. So if you happen to get over on YouTube, look our channel up. It's at Penny Royal Scuba, and it's I think 7679 something like that. But you can type in the search Penny Royal Scuba, you'll find us. But I'll have that on here for next week. I will program that in here in a little bit. But anyway, it is that 9 o'clock hour, and it has been a blast. It just doesn't seem like it lasts long enough for us here. Jojo, it's hard to believe that we've been sitting here talking for an hour.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, it's like, what's dive topic? Like dive buddy.
yeah.
Okay? And we turned it into a whole dive, about an hour conversation.
Anything with scuba, you can turn it into a good conversation, and hopefully, it's a conversation that you can take some knowledge from, and take that and use it in your diving practices. Because I mean, effectively, we all want to dive as safe as possible, and enjoy the underwater world. And so, if you get a chance to do that, it's always a good day. So, uh, other than that, next Monday night, Dive Avila will be on with us. If you're diving this weekend, we can't wait to see you. If you're not, we hope you have a fun, safe, and adventurous diving weekend. And we will catch you guys right back here next Monday night here on the Penny Royal Divers Group Monday Night Safety Stop. Maybe. I hate it when my computer does this.